Regulus Black is an unsung hero in the Harry Potter series. He was only briefly mentioned in the films, but there's a lot more to his story. In this video, I'm going to explain the life of Regulus Black. Regulus Black was born into the pure-blood Black family. His mother, Walburga, and his father, Orion, had two sons, Regulus and his older brother, Sirius. Regulus was described to have many of the same traits as his brother Sirius, such as dark hair, a haughty look, but was smaller and less handsome than his brother. He was described by Sirius as a much better son than he was. Their parents thought that Voldemort had the right idea when he was rising to power. They were all for the purification of the wizarding race, getting rid of Muggleborns and having purebloods in charge. Unlike Sirius, who tried to distance himself from his family, Regulus fully embraced his ancestry, and that showed in how his room was decorated. He had the Black family crest above his bed, and the Slytherin colors were draping the bed, walls, and windows. Regulus had a good relationship with the family house elf Kreacher, and was always very kind to him. In return, Kreacher was very loyal to Regulus. As a young boy, Regulus was a big fan of Voldemort, and would make collages of cut-out newspaper articles that had to do with the Dark Lord. When Regulus went to Hogwarts, he was sorted into Slytherin, and eventually played for his house Quidditch team as Seeker. He was part of Horace Slughorn's elite Slug Club, a club that only the top students and top people in society get invited to. Regulus's older brother Sirius ran away from home and was disowned from their family. He rarely, if ever, saw his brother after that. They marked off Sirius's name on the family tree. This sent a very clear message to Regulus that anyone who disagreed with the family's beliefs and pure blood mania would be disowned. These events might have caused Regulus to go down certain paths in his future. When he was 16, he joined Voldemort's cause and became a Death Eater. Sirius said that their parents thought Regulus was a right little hero for joining up at first. Regulus was faithful to the Dark Lord for a while, but eventually he got cold feet and didn't want to do Voldemort's bidding any longer. The story that most people knew was that he was a coward who tried to turn his back on Voldemort and went into hiding. Remus Lupin said Regulus only managed a few days, talking about how long he lasted after he tried to walk away from his life as a Death Eater. Even Regulus's own brother thought that he was a coward who ran away. He was murdered by Voldemort, or on Voldemort's orders more likely. I doubt Regulus was ever important enough to be killed by Voldemort in person. He got in so far, then panicked about what he was being asked to do, and tried to back out. You don't just hand in your resignation to Voldemort. It's a lifetime of service or death. This, however, was not true. Regulus was not a coward. He did not run away or go into hiding. He heroically and brilliantly was the first to discover Voldemort's ultimate secret, the secret that he had split his soul to make a Horcrux. Regulus, of course, did not know how many he had actually made, and presumed it was only the one. One day, Voldemort needed a house elf, and Regulus volunteered Kreacher for the job. Voldemort took Kreacher to a cave next to the sea, and forced Kreacher to test the obstacles he had made to protect Slytherin's locket, which he had turned into a Horcrux. They enter the cave, and he made Kreacher cut his hand, because you had to supply blood to get through the first obstacle, so that it would weaken you from the start. After that first obstacle, they entered deeper into the cave, and they saw a huge black lake with an island in the middle of it. Voldemort then pulled a boat out of the water, and the two floated to the island. On the island was a basin filled with poison, and Voldemort forced Kreacher to drink it all. Kreacher was in a huge amount of pain and saw terrible things. He begged for Regulus to save him, and Voldemort looked down at the pathetic elf and laughed. When Kreacher had gotten to the end of the poison, the locket was sitting in the basin. Voldemort then refilled it with a new draft of poison, and left Kreacher alone in the cave as he took the boat back across the water. Kreacher, who was desperate to get the pain of the poison to go away, drank from the black lake, and as he reached down, hands flew out of the water. Inferi came out and pulled Kreacher under. When it seemed like he had no hope, Regulus called Kreacher back to him, and Kreacher escaped when he disapparated out of the cave. This was something a normal witch or wizard could not do, but because elf magic was different, Kreacher was able to disapparate while inside the cave. Voldemort had overlooked this fact because he saw house elves so far beneath him, and it would never occur to him that something as low as a house elf could have magic that he didn't. When Kreacher returned to the house, Regulus ordered Kreacher to stay hidden and stay inside. He then went out and got an exact replica of Slytherin's locket that was in the cave. Regulus then put a letter inside of it that read, "To the Dark Lord. I know I will be dead long before you read this, but I want you to know that it was I who discovered your secret. I have stolen the real Horcrux and intend to destroy it as soon as I can. I face death in the hope that when you meet your match, you will be mortal once again. R.A.B." A little after that, he went back to the house, and Kreacher said he was strange, not as he usually was, disturbed in his mind. He asked Kreacher to take him to the cave, and Kreacher obeyed. Kreacher of course knew how to get through each obstacle and told Regulus what to do. He first cut his hand, then summoned the boat, and the two reached the island. Before Regulus drank the poison, he pulled out the fake locket and gave Kreacher specific directions, which was after he finished the poison, to switch the fake locket with the real one. And when he had done so, leave without him, and never tell his mother what he had done. And finally, he told Kreacher to destroy the locket. Regulus drank the poison and was in agony as he saw terrible things. Kreacher watched, crying, as his master was dragged beneath the water. Kreacher disapparated and returned home just as he was ordered. Regulus' mother was hysterical that Regulus had gone missing, but Kreacher was forbidden to tell her what had happened because of Regulus' order to the house elf. Kreacher tried to destroy the locket, but he could not figure it out. He would spend the rest of his life punishing himself because he wasn't able to complete his master's last orders. Many years later, Harry and Dumbledore went to the same cave and retrieved the fake locket. Harry eventually realized that RAB was Sirius' brother, and Kreacher told him, Ron, and Hermione the real story. The story that made his master look like a brave hero instead of a scared coward. Regulus had kept all of this a secret because he was trying to protect his family, a very noble act. Kreacher and Regulus' family were all safer if they kept to the old pureblood line. Regulus was trying to protect them all. After Kreacher had told them the story, Harry said, "We want to finish the work Master Regulus started. We want to ensure that he didn't die in vain." Harry gave Kreacher the fake locket that he had retrieved in the cave. "Kreacher, I'd like you to have this. This belonged to Regulus, and I'm sure he'd want you to have it as a token of gratitude." Kreacher wore that locket around his neck from then on. Harry, Ron, and Hermione eventually found the Horcrux and destroyed it, fulfilling the mission that Regulus had died for. Once the locket was destroyed, something changed in Kreacher. It might have been because the locket had been put to an end, freeing Kreacher from his master's final order. During the Battle of Hogwarts, Kreacher, who worked in the Hogwarts kitchens, led the house elves into battle, proudly wearing Regulus' locket on his chest. "Fight! Fight! Fight for my master, defender of the house elves. Fight the Dark Lord in the name of brave Regulus. Fight!" Although Regulus started his life on a dark path, he died doing a selfless act to protect his family and the entire wizarding world. He knew he would die looking like a coward, when in fact he died an unsung and unknown hero.